Competency 1. Demonstrate ethical and professional behaviors. The practice behaviors include making ethical decisions by applying the standards of the NASW Code of Ethics, relevant laws and regulations, models for ethical decision making, ethical conduct of research, and additional codes of ethics as appropriate to context. Using reflection and self-regulation to manage personal values and maintain professionalism in practice situations. Demonstrate professional demeanor and behavior, appearance, and oral, written, and electronic communications, using technology ethically and appropriately to facilitate practice outcomes, and use supervision and consultation to guide professional judgment and behavior. Presented by Lacey, Taylor, and BethAnne.
My first piece of evidence that I selected is a group meeting that I was able to lead at my practicum site. And what we did in this group meeting was, as a committee, we gathered together to develop a plan or a path towards our goals and dreams. And through this, I was able to guide our committee and really use ethical and professional values that I've learned in the social work program to ensure that I wasn't pressing my own ethics onto other individuals, and really it helped me to be able to take a step back and focus on the needs and values of other individuals that were in the group. My second piece of evidence is a course that I took while I was in the MSW program to get my certificate to become a qualified developmental disabilities professional. In this course, I had to learn a lot of different ethical and professional strategies. One of them included ethical and appropriate use of technology. In this, we talked about HIPAA and had to learn about all the different compliances that we had to follow so that we could appropriately communicate in regards to clients and individuals that we were working with. We had to learn that you have to communicate over a secure network, otherwise you can't email detailed information about a client. To meet the HIPAA regulation, you have to have everything under 3 layers of lock, so regular email doesn't necessarily always comply with that. We also learned how to demonstrate ethical and professional reasoning when working with clients of many different ethnicities, races, and religion. And it also helped me learn to identify that sometimes clients have different code of ethics than I have, and how to combine those together and ethically work with a client and make sure that you're honoring their own personal code of ethics. My third piece of evidence is my presentation from Dr. Wesley's practicum class. And in this presentation, I learned many different ways to utilize the people around me to use supervision and consultation when faced with an ethical dilemma. I was able to utilize my classmates, and I was able to utilize my practicum supervisor when I was concerned about an ethical choice that had to be made. And that really helped me understand that sometimes it's best just to take a step back and utilize the resources around you when you're trying to make an ethical choice. At my practicum at Southern Illinois Community Support Services, I work with SIUE programs, which are community integrated living arrangements. And currently in the SIUE program throughout the country, there are quite a few policy and waiver changes that are really going to affect how we are able to implement services for the individuals that we serve. One of the big pushes that is going to be in effect is integrating CQL's 21 outcome measures. And in their book, they talk about the different outcome measures to figure out what is each person's individual code of ethics. And I've had to do a lot of research with this and present it to the individuals who are on the committee to help make the changes in the organization. Through these committee meetings, I've had to learn how to ethically and professionally establish relationships with all the different individuals on the committee and make sure that I am understanding each individual's own professional and ethical reasons and needs.
I chose to use my certificate of completion from going to the Managing Anxiety and Depression with Adolescents Who Are Self-Harming and Struggling with Suicidal Ideations. It was a seminar that helped us understand how to communicate better with adolescents who are going through their own struggles and who are self-harming and having thoughts of suicide. So this met the competency because it helped me to demonstrate professional demeanor and behavior in oral communications so that I was able to communicate with the adolescents in a professional and ethical way while helping them deal with all the struggles that they are going. My second piece of evidence is a bariatric evaluation. We complete the bariatric evaluation at my practicum in order to assess if a client is in the right mental state to have the bariatric surgery. So we complete the evaluation and ask all the questions that we feel are necessary to determine that, and then we put together the document that in order to collaborate with the other doctors, telling them what our thoughts are and if we think that they are eligible for this surgery or not. So in order to complete this, I have to use the competency of just demonstrating professional demeanor in written and electronic communications. So whenever I write these reports, I have to make sure that I am presenting myself in a professional and ethical way because I am collaborating with the other doctors. So I also meet the competency by using supervision and consultation. So I meet with my supervisor in order to talk about the evaluation and then put the report together. So she kind of coaches me on making sure that I am using professional and ethical communications when I'm writing the reports, as well as making sure that I am being ethical whenever I'm sending reports via fax or email or things like that. For my third piece of evidence, I am using the motivational interviewing training that I attended during the MSW program. This training really helped us to develop our skills in order to work with clients in a professional and ethical way by the way that we communicate with them. It also taught us how to kind of put aside our values and focus on what's important to the clients. And so that directly relates to this competency by helping me demonstrate professional demeanor in oral communication, especially whenever I'm working with clients. It's important for me to stay professional, make sure that their values are what's important in the situation, and work off of that. I'm completing my practicum at Family Life Consultants, which is a private practice therapy office, and we do therapy with individuals, families, couples, and groups. I myself have a caseload of approximately 10 clients that I have been seeing on a weekly basis since the time that practicum started, and then I do evaluations such as the bariatric evaluations just as needed whenever those clients come in. So during my time at Family Life Consultants, I have learned a lot from Covey and his book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. The 5th habit in his book is seek first to understand, and that has really helped guide some of my practice, which directly relates to this competency by making sure that I am first focusing on the client and their values and ethics and putting my feelings, my values, my ethics, things like that to the side, and making sure that I am focusing on the client and what's best for them, and making sure that I'm acting in a professional way with my values and my ethics.
There are 3 unique examples of assignments and activities that I've completed during my MSW program that demonstrate competency 1, that demonstrate professional and ethical behavior. The first assignment is a case study paper that was to be completed in Wesley's practicum class. It relates to competency 1 because it allowed me to take a look at my personal and professional values and how they conflict. The client and her family kind of acted out against our staff and chose not to take the resources that we gave them to benefit them. So it wasn't until I took a step back and looked at this case through a professional lens that I realized I needed to self-reflect and regulate. The practice behavior this assignment exemplifies is self-reflection and regulation to manage personal values and maintain professionalism. While writing my case paper, I was sort of able to understand how to better react when my professional and personal values conflict one another. So another practice behavior this assignment demonstrates includes supervision and consultation to guide professional behavior. I was able to meet with my professor and discuss these issues and kind of identify, what to better do whenever I do have this issue. So there's an article written by Elizabeth Voschel and Aleo Wasala. They are licensed social workers in Michigan, I believe. And they wrote an article on social media and social work ethics. So one of the quotes that they have about field instructors and consultation includes, field instructors are important mentors to students by virtue of their role in helping students develop a self-awareness around their professional identity and by assisting them in determining and establishing ethical guideposts during their time in field placement. So that kind of shows how important it is to have a good supervisor and to be able to kind of go to them when you have issues to talk about. The second assignment that I've chosen to discuss is the mental health film presentation, in which we chose to analyze The Lion King through a different lens. This project demonstrates Competency 1 because it allowed me to understand how to use technology ethically in social work practice. We worked in a group of 4 in this project, and communication with group members was key to success. So because this project was done almost completely electronically, the practice behavior that applied to this includes demonstrating professional behavior and electronic communication and using technology ethically to facilitate practice outcomes. So I don't have a physical copy of that, but it'll be in a PDF file in the YouTube description as well that you can take a look at. There's another quote in the article that these 2 ladies wrote, and it says, technology had also inherently created some challenges around the development of personal boundaries in many dimensions in all of our lives. The numbers of hours people are on the clock has increased due to the fact that they are receiving and answering work-related email during off-the-clock hours. So kind of also a lot of what they talk about in this article is technology and how it has greatly impacted our profession and how available people are and kind of understanding professional and personal technology use in the field of social work. So the third project is a resource for grandparents that don't have legal custody of their grandchildren, but they're caring for them in the home. So this is something that I came up with in my practicum site, which we'll talk about a little bit later, but it's a benefits quick link, which basically you just take this quiz. It takes about 10 to 15 minutes to fill out, and after you're done with the questionnaire, it tells you what benefits you qualify for, how to get them, somebody to contact, and talk to about it if you need help. So we just noticed that there was a really great need in our organization for this because we have a lot of grandparents who bring in their grandchildren and don't have any legal rights to maybe their medical or emotional or physical needs, things like that. So this benefits quick link can kind of get around that and show grandparents what actually they do have access to. This applies to Competency 1 because social workers place importance on lifelong learning and updating skills and resource for the public. So this is a project that was given to me to update the needs of the people that we are serving. The practice behaviors assignment exemplifies include ethical conduct of research, and supervision to ensure best professional judgment and behavior. I was in constant supervision while doing this project as well. I'm currently completing my practicum at the St. Clair Child Advocacy Center. This organization serves children who are physically and sexually abused and helps them get the medical and mental health attention they need. Instead of talking to multiple people multiple different times, which makes a big area for more trauma in that child's life. All of the people that need to hear from this child come and sit behind a double-sided mirror, watch the forensic interviewer interview the child, and get the information that they need. So usually there's a DCFS member, an investigator, a police officer, or a state's attorney's member, and they all sit back there, and then we talk before and after the interview to kind of get all the information, bring all the information to one area. So Competency 1 states that social workers understand the role of other professionals when working in an interpersonal professional team. So by using a multidisciplinary team approach, this kind of coincides with Competency 1. Practice behaviors that are exemplified every day at my practicum site include supervision and consultation weekly to guide professional behavior, demonstrating professional behavior. I conduct myself in a professional manner by showing up on time every day, dressing appropriately, staying in communication with my team members, and making ethical decisions. So Competency 1 definitely fits with the my practicum site.